Hi everyone, please welcome with me Michele Taleetha from Singapore. Michelle has moved to New Zealand and lived there for quite a few years before she decided to move back home to Singapore again, where she is currently. And I'm really grateful for her to share her story with us because we need some more stories of going back home and how that life looks like now. So thank you so much, Michelle, for your time to be here and to share your story with us.
No problem. I'm honored to be here.
Thank you. I'm also very honored because, it's like great to have different perspectives and just in general hear how people feel once they actually moved back. But before we come to this, when I say you're from Singapore, I know that a lot of people wouldn't necessarily have expected you in that picture. And I also have to admit that comes from a mindset that is not as open as it could be. And
Yeah.
I also remember I had a colleague. She is also now a friend, and she is from Brazil but has Japanese descendants. Um, and I remember people saying, "Hey, we will have a new colleague from Brazil." And then once she was there, we didn't quite think it would be her because of our idea of how a Brazilian would look like. So that really made me very aware of how to change my perspectives. But do you mind telling us a tiny bit about your heritage and also how diverse Singapore actually is?
Yes, I would love to share about that because every time I tell anyone I'm from Singapore, it's always received with some sort of shock. Some people are like, oh, yeah, because they don't know about Singapore. And some people who like, because we are in the Asian, they just associate us mostly with China, I think. I don't know. I don't really know why because we are not even in that area. We are more southeast, which is like
Yeah,
surrounded by countries like Malaysia and Indonesia, Philippines, like that kind of thing. But I guess when it comes to lack of knowledge about a certain topic, which is very easy to do in this
yeah,
case because there's so many countries in the world. Plus, when it comes to maybe stereotypes as well, right? So, and it's not
100%.
wrong. It's not wrong. It's just how the way the world goes. It's easier because it's easier to categorize people, right? So
Yeah,
you shouldn't be offended. It's just it's an opportunity for you to actually share about your country and how things actually really work. You are spreading like awareness, right? So
yes.
I take it that way. But anyway, when I tell people I'm from Singapore, they do ask like, "Oh no, you're not Asian though." But I'm like, well, "But I am Asian though." Like
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway, so my descent is my grandma is from India. She was born there, but she was brought up here. And then the rest of my family, like my grandfather, I
yeah,
don't really know because I haven't had the opportunity to actually converse with him, and so I didn't delve into that part of my ancestry. But
yeah,
that's where we're from, and that's why I look the way that I do, and also, but when it comes to the like the way every country we have a different way of carrying ourselves. We have a unified identity in that sense. So if I go to another
yeah,
country and I hear someone talking, I hear a Singaporean. Before seeing them, I can tell that it's a Singaporean.
yeah, yeah,
So like that is what connects us and keeps us like as one in that sense.
yeah, yeah,
So, yeah, and then in Singapore it's very diverse because we were initially part of Malaysia. Maybe like 60 years ago we got our independence, and because we were part of Malaysia, technically the natives are Malays, right?
yeah.
But because of colonialization and all that, Singapore had a lot of people from different countries being, what's the word, is it imported or something, I don't know, people were being brought,
Migrated.
migrated, that's the word. People
Imported. Let's import some more people.
they migrated to the country because they were building the country from scratch, right? So you needed different talents to like make the country more what's the word, up there, you know. So they had people from China, people from India, people from Europe, like bunch of people that came in. So our the race, the ethnicities that make up our majority of our population is would be Chinese. Chinese is the highest population, and then
Yeah.
followed by the Indians and the Malays. We are like semi same number. I think the Indians are slightly lesser, and then Malays are like
Yeah.
slightly above that. Yeah, and then there's a even more smaller portion of Eurasians because of the Europeans and the Asian combination. Yeah, so that's what
Yeah.
Singapore is like. Very multiracial.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing because I think it's so important as you mentioned before. It's always an opportunity to learn something new and to educate people as well. And lucky most people are willing to learn something new, and the few odd ones that are not wanting to be educated, we can ignore them. But it is such a great thing for me now. Even if someone looks a certain way, I try to not ever assume anymore. Even if I think, oh, they are probably 90% from this country, maybe not. So I always ask, where are you from?
Yeah,
And if they confirm, then that's great. Otherwise, another opportunity for me to learn where they are from. So that's great. And even for me, most people can't really guess where I'm from. So, that's something also, if I would now say I'm from Japan or whatever, it's not highly likely. But I love that we shouldn't assume things in the first place. So that's just such a great example to not judge a book by its cover.
yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing. You
No problem.
said also that Singaporeans have like a certain way they carry themselves to be really unique and to be recognizable somewhere else. Are there a few more points or factors you would think are like those kind of characteristics?
There, so other than the way we speak, like our slang, I don't know. It's just is it an innate thing or something? Because it's like sometimes you can just tell just by the way they do things. Might sound a bit bad, but it's true. Okay, if a Singaporean is listening to this, they know I'm right because in Singapore, I'm not even kidding. You can be walking down in the malls or past the shop, and then you see a line. Okay, and there will be people joining the line, and I ask them, why are you queuing up? And then they'll be like, oh, I don't know, it's a line, so I'm queuing. You know what I mean? That kind of characteristics is very difficult to explain, but you can just tell when they do things like that that this is definitely a Singaporean or Malaysian because our traits are very similar. Like our slang and the way we behave is quite close. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I will keep an eye out for that.
You should. It's so and it really I'm not even kidding, it really happens. Like this is not an exaggeration, it's real.
Yes, I really wanted to go to Singapore again. I just went for a quick layover and I couldn't see much. I went to the waterfront where the trees are, and
Yeah.
like is it not Mission Bay, but
Gardens by the Bay, right? Is it?
yes, so very pretty. But
Yeah.
because I was too tired, I didn't really last long. And then I went back to the airport. But I also have a friend who I met here in New Zealand, and I want to visit her one day. And I also love that she is, for example, now married to someone who has also Indian heritage. And I just think, yeah, it's great. I personally like seeing those
Yeah,
also interracial couples. Yeah.
there's a lot of that here because also in our national anthem, and our national anthem is not even in English, it's in Malay. And our pledge, we have a pledge that goes along with that. It speaks about like multiracialism and how, we're all one. So, and even the way we are, when we live in buildings, right? Like apartment buildings. So even the percentage of races are divided equally so that it's encouraging racial integration in that sense, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, that's really beautiful. I love that so much. And also hearing how advanced Singapore is as a country. I think it's also one of the blue zones, right? Just in general, very advanced, very
Yeah.
looked after the environment and like really cool. I think we should learn a little bit more about Singapore as well and learn from it as well. So
Yeah, there are things to learn. I am impressed. I didn't used to be a fan of my own country until I left. And then you appreciate all the small things that you actually have
yeah.
over here, you took for granted before.
Yeah, 100%. So coming to that, what made you move to New Zealand and when did you move? How old were you and why?
I moved when I was 22, so
Yeah.
7 years ago. And I moved because I always wanted to. I love the ocean, and I wanted to pursue something that has got to do with the ocean. And I somehow always knew that I wanted to get into marine biology. I just didn't know that it was going to happen. But then
Yeah.
when I reached that age and I was meant to decide on what I wanna major in, I thought I want to do this, but they didn't really have a course like that in Singapore at that time. So I thought, okay, maybe I should go to Australia or New Zealand, but I decided going to New Zealand because literally half of Singapore is in Australia. If anyone leaves Singapore, they're either in Australia or in the UK. So I'm like, nah, I
Yeah.
want fresh perspectives. If I'm gonna leave the country, I wanna not have to bump into Singaporeans all the time. Not because I hate them, because like you want to get the
A new
best.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So um I chose New Zealand, and it made sense because New Zealand's quite passionate about the environment, especially like with its marine life as well. And they have a lot
Yes.
of sanctuaries. It's a lot to learn from that country. So I thought I'm gonna go there, and then yeah, and then I ended up studying there. I got a work visa, blah blah blah, and then come to this point of my life where um I have decided to stop there.
But how did you feel coming to New Zealand and yeah, building a new community? Did you feel like because you're also coming from a big family, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, being away from home so far and building a new community, sort of. How did you feel? Like, was it easy for you because you're also such an approachable and happy, cheery person, or was it difficult for you?
People would think that it would be easy, but actually it was not, because I am, as you said, I have a big family and I'm very very close to all of them. So going there was trouble for me, even though I am perceived as an extrovert, because I rely on my familial support for a lot of my extrovertedness. So when I
Yes.
didn't have that, it was kind of I don't know, it hit me quite hard for a while. But again, I have evolved in so many ways because of that, to know that
Yeah.
loneliness is not really, it depends on how you take any uncomfortable situation that you're put in, right? So if you're lonely, you can either deteriorate or you can choose to say that, hey, this is time that I have to work on myself, to do things that I usually didn't have time to do, right? So I chose
Yes.
to have that outlook. And then once I got that outlook, it was easier for me to like put myself out there and like be more of my natural self, because before I was feeling a bit down and I didn't have that motivation to like want to go and interact with many people, other than my flatmates. But like I wouldn't actually put in effort to go out and like get to know people, get to know the place and stuff, because I was sad. Once I got
Yeah.
out of that, then I made such a good I would say I actually have a family in New Zealand, because and it's nice, it's close to me. I feel like I'm split into two because I've built a life for myself there. I was born here and a life was made for me here, but then I built a life over there, and it's
Yes.
beautiful because there's so many different people from all parts of the world that I have gotten to connect with, and I have so many so many too many sorry so many stories that I get to hear from them, life experiences, and lots of fun. And they're all beautiful, sweet people. So nice memories, and I really
Yeah.
treasure my time that I spent over there a lot. It's close to my heart. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so often that we kind of first, when we arrive in a new country, need to adjust as well. And then it's harder to just be fully yourself. And I know when I first came, people thought I'm so out there, I'm so confident, I'm so extroverted. But it was just me really knowing if I'm not putting myself out there, I will be all alone. And I don't want that. So I
Yeah.
have to put myself out there, no matter how uncomfortable that is.
Yeah,
And once I slowly had friends and everything, it made life a lot easier.
it did. It does. Yeah.
Would you think you had more international friends here or quite a lot of Kiwi friends as well?
I think I would say I have international friends, not just Kiwis. It's always easier to your initial friends. It's easier to be international. For me, it was Kiwi because of my flatmates, and they, you share a lot of time together. But
Yeah.
then outside of that, um, in school and stuff, because of I think there was a Ghanaian girl, and people who don't really like or a few Chinese people or Japanese people, like they don't really have, especially if they don't have their own groups and they feel isolated. I mean, I'm the same. I don't have my own group, so you kind of gravitate towards each other, right? And then
Yes.
and then we become friends, and then it expands, and then you move to another place, and the same thing happens, and then once you get your bearings on actually how to interact with people in a different country, it's not very difficult, especially if you keep to your authentic self. Somehow, it's not tough. People just like, I wouldn't say gravitate towards you, but you don't stress so much about trying to like be a certain way because you want to be accepted. You be you, and the right people will be attracted to you, and then it's nice that way, you know
Yes, yes, I fully agree with that statement. And I think we all have it in ourselves that we try so hard sometimes to be part of some group or, you know,
yeah.
and I even still realize that sometimes if I want people to like me, I'm like nervous. And then I'm telling myself, look, you have great friends here now. And if those people don't want to be your friend, that's absolutely fine. Like, you don't need to have a collection of people. You just be yourself, and then the people that are actually matching as well will stay and will be able to connect with me. And it makes it a lot easier, especially for a people pleaser.
Are you a people pleaser?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Actually, I wouldn't. I feel like you're so you're what I think is you're very nice and very not accommodating, like very easy to approach and talk to. But then you also have like you're quite grounded in terms of what you allow into your circle.
I'm
So
trying.
that's
It's a
good.
it's a learning process, and I think, as you probably know as well, with some people it's way easier to put up your boundaries and to actually, um, keep to it, stick to it. And then there are some other people that make it a bit harder to, have your boundaries. But then again, it's a learning process. And as you say, just be yourself, and then also try to limit the time you spend with the people that are just not really filling your cup, which
Yeah,
everyone, no matter where you are, you will always have that as well.
you
So
will.
yeah, but yeah, it's interesting how you really said you created your life, you built a new life while the life in Singapore has been given to you.
Yeah,
And I guess you're right, because you didn't choose to grow up in Singapore. It was your parents that set up this life for you. I didn't choose to grow up in Germany, but yet this is what we call home.
yeah,
So, and it influences our personality so much. As you said, you have certain traits because you are from that country, surrounded by those people and your family. So we have really now, or we had the chance to build something completely new. Would you say that your personality has changed when you built your life here and you have become a little bit of a different person? Or would you think you were consistently kind of the same, even though you're evolving and learning and growing? But do you think your personality has changed when you were over here?
I would say maybe the essence is the same, but I do see a lot of differences in myself. And I don't think they are necessarily bad. I think it's um like you, when you are put in certain situations, a side of you comes out that may need to come out in order to survive that situation, but that doesn't mean you have actually changed. You're not the same person anymore. Still the same person. Your environment has decided that we need another version of Michelle, not this version of Michelle. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
that's what I've come to realize, that uh I when you are in a place where you're so comfortable and you have security and people at the back, you know, back, that can be at the back and call of you or something. Don't I use that phrase, sorry. And then um it's so easy for you to just be very, no, I wouldn't say naive, but like a bit light spirited and like do whatever you want because you know you have backup. But when you go to another country, you realize that you cannot be that way because eventually you only have yourself. You need to grow up a bit more,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you also need to, I can't really be a pushover anymore because I know that if I'm going to, like you said, people pleaser or whatever, if and I would say I really was such a people pleaser. But then, like, I used to think a lot about the day ends, and I used to reflect and think that, oh, I could have done this better this way. Does this person, think bad of me, that kind of thing? And then I realized that's so bad. Like, it doesn't need to be that way. It's done already. And as long as at that point of time, what were my intentions, and how am I interacting with you? That's all that matters. Like, you don't really have to go back and do a lot of reflection on the entire day just because you want to make sure that you didn't do something wrong or think things could have been better. So like I changed a lot in that sense to know that you that eventually I have to be sure of the fact of the person that I think I would say I have more confidence, way more confidence, and way more assurance in myself, and also boundaries. I've put up boundaries with people to know that, because back then I didn't have boundaries. Like, I welcome anyone and very ready to be so present for everyone. Which is not a bad thing, but it can be a bad thing, right? Because too much of something is always poison, especially to yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
decided to know that there has to be boundaries with everyone because you need to protect your own space. But it's how much of a boundary to have, right? Some lines should be thicker and some can be thinner, but there always has to be a line, because it's very easy in this generation, at least, for people to cross it, and like it gets messy, and like, you get all sorts of problems after that. So like that's how I've evolved, like, in that sense, with my personality. And but I think my bubbliness, it's still the same. I've been like that since I was young, and now I'm still the same, but I try to pick who I am that way with. So
Yes. Yes.
yeah, that's,
So, would you agree with the fact that you just now choose which part of you are kind of showing the
yeah,
people around you? Like
yeah,
it's
exactly.
all you,
Yeah.
but you are kind of deciding
Yeah, that's
this is
exactly
the
what it
part.
is. Yeah. I pick
Yeah.
and choose who gets to see what side of me and how much as well. It's like, your mirror, right? I'll
Yeah.
be my genuine self mostly if I interact with you for the first time. And depending on what I receive, I see if I want to carry on being that way. Otherwise, I start to like give you back what you are giving to me if I have to keep dealing with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So after 7 years, because it has been also 7 years you have been in New Zealand, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What made you then go, okay, I think it's time for me to go back. I'm ready to go back home. And I take that step and move back.
Well, Uh, I started thinking about this last year, probably in July or August, about a year ago actually. It's mostly because I've already been working at LIC for like it's gonna be 3 years, and then I was like thinking that I'm kind of stagnating. I'm not really like progressing anymore, if you're gonna do something, you're gonna have to benefit one way or another. I do not like to. It's good to be comfortable, but it's not good to be too comfortable, because then
Yes.
like you're not learning anything. Then what's the point, right? So started feeling that way. Plus, I realized everyone at home, they're all getting much older, and then I've been away for such a long time, and then I thought I already kind of cannot say enjoy my life, but more so I've already had an experience out of this, Singapore environment with my
Yeah.
family stuff. So I think it's time for me to come back, because it's not only for them, it's more for me as well. Like people would think that, oh, you're going back because is is your presence needed, but it's not really like that. It's also like it's for me, because I know that life is so short. Eventually what matters is your connections and people that matter and are close to you, right? So for
Yeah.
that reason, I do not want to regret down the road. So that is the reason why I came back, because I want to make the most of my life, because we just never know how much time we have.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yeah,
100%. You said it so well. Especially, I think we all ask ourselves the question, how long do we want to be away from our loved ones? And I think I can probably speak for most immigrants, experts, people that are living abroad. It is probably one of the biggest questions one is asking, probably frequently: do I stay or do I go back? And
yeah,
then it's like dependent on how strong the feeling is in one or the other direction that
yeah,
you make that decision. So I think even the people that are having spent like 20 years abroad, if they still have family overseas, I'm sure they are still thinking about, should we go back? Like that's just always going to be in
yeah,
everyone's head, I think.
yeah,
And it is great that you just made the decision based on, okay, your priority is you want to spend as much time as possible with your loved ones, and you don't want to look back regretting if something happens you haven't had that time. So,
yeah,
and you are really, really close with your big family. So I can totally understand
yeah.
why you then decided to go back. Would you think one day you might go and live in a different country again, or do you see yourself settling down now in Singapore and staying and, you know?
That's a very good question. It's so funny because yesterday I literally was talking to my mom about it. I was telling her that Singapore is just crazy, man. I just cannot imagine growing old here. I told her that it's so crowded. There's just so many people. You're walking and you have to, it's like as though you're playing that traffic game where there's cars coming from all directions. You never just like peacefully have a conversation and walk. You have to be like dodging bullets all the time. What the heck? So like it's super crowded and everyone's like always hurrying, hurry burry all the time. But it's very convenient. Healthcare is so convenient and efficient as well. In that sense, there's so many pros here. But when it comes to like the quality of life, like I do not see this country as a country where I would want to slow down the pace of my life and like, ready to
Yeah.
evacuate planet Earth. Like I don't see that, as a thing. I think that I would like a country that has a bit of New Zealand and a bit of Singapore. I don't know what country that is, but I would like something like that. you know.
Yeah.
I mean, let me plan, okay? Let me dream. If it
Yes.
happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'll make the best
Yeah.
of where I'm at. But yeah,
Please tell me if you find this country.
I will tell you for sure.
I have a little bit of the feeling it might end up being Australia.
I'm not even kidding. I was thinking of that also. I was thinking maybe it's Australia. Literally in the middle of
Yes.
Singapore.
Honestly, I was also, when you first said it, I was like, no way, there's no such thing. But Australia, because it's a bigger country and it has a lot more people than New Zealand, but a still laid back attitude in the way of living,
Yeah.
but also a bit more advanced, I would say, in certain aspects. So maybe that's your middle ground one day. But
I think
I
so.
guess like we will find out and I will keep checking in with you.
I will too. One day you'll see me flying to Aussie and you'll be like, is that the day, Michelle? Are you going there for real?
Yes, yes. Is this your new life? But would you say that once you have moved abroad, it is actually quite hard coming back home and staying home? Like, do you have this kind of feeling of, we say, wanderlust, like this whole, the world is calling me. I want to get out there. I need to,
I have,
see other places.
I do have that feeling. It's weird. I don't know what it is, but it's so funny that you said it because I actually do feel it, and I felt it so much yesterday. Because missing New Zealand is one thing, but it's more so maybe it's my personality as well. I'm like the kind of person that, because even when I was in New Zealand and my life was like kind of the same every single day for a while, for a few years, and then I was thinking, is this going to be my life now? And I started worrying. I was like, no, 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 life can't be like that. There's more to life than this, right? And
Yeah.
then I realized I'm going back to Singapore. Oh yeah, adventure. I don't know, I have plans and everything. And then I come here, and it's good because I actually have a lot of things to do. I'm super busy, but and I have goals to achieve as well. But then then I start thinking, oh my god, if this is just going to be how my life turns out, maybe it's a disease. It's a Michelle disease. I don't know.
I don't think it's a Michelle disease. I think it's really that type of personality. And you see it a lot in traveler and in people that are choosing to move to another country, not because they have to, but because they want to. It's like this, this feeling in your heart, I would say. And I think it is hard to settle down somewhere and think this is now the place I want to stay forever. I feel like even the words make you feel like
So
forever.
funny.
Oh God, I can't do this. Um, and who knows, maybe one day you find a country where you actually feel like, okay, I can imagine doing this now. But I don't think, like, because I talk to so many people, and I feel like most of them have that feeling. And that's what makes it even harder to go back home and then have a happy life at home because of that whole idea of, okay, I now need to make it work here. But you luckily went back home with a really positive attitude and, outlook because you wanted to spend more time with your family. So now, since you have done it for a couple of months now, being back,
Yeah,
um, and you sound like you slowly entering another type of routine as well. But when you first grew up in Singapore and then you moved to New Zealand and now being back in Singapore, is there a difference you feel how people perceive you, how people treat you, or how you feel in your own country as like, changes you have noticed within yourself that you didn't notice before, where you think like, oh, maybe I don't really fit in anymore, or maybe your family has changed because they didn't stop growing and evolving while you were away.
yeah,
Is there anything that you have noticed in yourself that's different now and in your family?
yeah. Of course, um, I would say whenever I'm traveling from New Zealand to and back, okay, to New Zealand, from New Zealand back and forth. Every time I enter the country, and even when go back to New Zealand from Singapore, there's always this period of acclimatization that like hits me very hard. It's like I'm just thinking, oh, why do I have to go through this? Because it's a mixture of like you miss the place that you were just in before, but then you also want to be in the place that you currently are in. So that's like something that I don't really enjoy, but I got used to it because it's just part of that life. And then um when it comes to my family and people around me changing, of course, like you said, everyone is evolving, so things definitely change. But the thing is, I have kept in contact with everyone in my life, not as
Yeah.
much as I would have liked to, but I do. It's easy for me to not talk to someone for months and I can still talk to them as though nothing changed. So
Yeah.
maybe that's an added benefit that I don't really feel that issue. But I do, when it comes to the way I speak. that's not even a problem because I never really changed the way I speak in New Zealand either. My friends are like, "Oh my God, Michelle, you're such an embarrassment. You go to New Zealand, you don't even sound anything like that. You sound like you're fresh off the boat from Singapore." And then I was like, "What the heck, guys? You should be proud of me for standing for our country." No,
Yes.
no, but like in that sense, I don't really feel the changes. But when it comes to dynamics at home, like my brothers and everything, used to spend so much time with them, but because I have not really been there all the time, then they have started like doing their own thing. So fitting in here and there is kind of like sometimes I feel like, maybe I'll just give them their space. I don't really like belong there, you know. But it's
Yeah.
not that. It's a more of a me thing. They're not actually saying that. They're like, "Oh, come on with us." It's just me feeling a bit uncomfortable because of the time that we've spent apart. But
Yeah.
then again, you can close the gap, right? With time. So
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
Oh, that's nice. So, hearing that a lot of people struggle to go back home, I feel like you don't really have the similar issues where they feel like they don't belong anywhere anymore, because I guess because you stayed in touch with your family so well, and you went back a few times as well, right?
yeah.
And just the way you are, I guess it helped a lot to not come back and not feel like you're part of the family anymore and everyone has moved on.
No, no, yeah. I'm
Uh,
thankful that that's not the case. But like,
yeah.
sorry, carry on.
No, please go.
No, but also like the thing is I actually do feel as a part of me that feels like, oh, I don't, like I told you just now, I don't really know if it's like I'm a mixture of both the countries because of the time I've spent in both most of my 20s I've spent in New Zealand, and then like my younger life I've spent in Singapore. So naturally I also feel that um displacement in that sense. But I also tell myself that, life is an adventure. Before I came back to Singapore, I was thinking that, so before when I was in New Zealand and I was thinking that I have to go back to Singapore, I realized that just a few months before I made that decision, I didn't know that I was going to come back. So I thought that, oh, my life's going to be here. And the moment I realized I was coming back to Singapore, my the feelings in me changed. I was like, oh, it's a new adventure. Okay, it's changing. But then you're missing the country. But honestly speaking, life is like that. It's just that we don't know that it's going to change. We might think that our life is going to be like that forever, but it's not going to be like that forever. It could actually change in the next 3 months. We just don't know that yet. So if
Yeah.
we enter every single day with that kind of perspective, to know that because of the human side of the human way that our mind is, right, we just tend to like over plan. Sometimes we think that this is just what it's going to be like. Because of that thinking,
Yeah.
we start to like worry about the mundaneness of it, and then we forget to really enjoy. Because what we should do is to know that it's not going to be the same. Things can actually change. It might not be like that. This is actually short term. And when I started to adopt that perspective, I realized that, yeah, then I can truly enjoy the present. Does it make sense? I don't know if it makes sense.
It does. To me, it totally makes sense. And it's like such a good advice and reminder as well. Because I think every time someone asks me, and are you going to stay in New Zealand now? Like forever? I'm like, why do I even have to think about that right now?
Yeah,
Why do I have to make a decision on that right now? Like,
yeah,
I could say, yes, at the moment, I feel like I'm staying forever. But then you never know what might happen. That might change my perspective
yeah,
completely. And then I might be like, oh no, I think I moved to Canada now. Or I moved back home, even though I never thought I would. But, maybe someone gets sick at home and I just really need to be there. You never know what will happen. And it's so good to be reminded because we do tend to plan for a long term.
yeah,
And then something really crazy happens. Like sometimes other influences, like other people, other circumstances, other, yeah, things can change, or things will always change, as you said. And it's so true. We sometimes are not fully present because we constantly think ahead and we are like, oh, what's next? How do I deal with that now? What if that happens in the future?
yeah,
It's so true.
yeah.
So I love that. Thank you for the reminder.
But it's so easy because even with that mindset, I still fall back sometimes. It's just in our human condition to be that way. But it's mindfulness, right? So when you catch, when you are doing that, when you're spiraling a bit, you have to catch yourself, and with that awareness tell yourself that, hey, no, you know what, like, life is truly an adventure, and we are where we are meant to be at that point of time. So let's do the work, let's put in the 100% wherever we are, because actually wherever we are is where we're meant to be, you know
Yeah. Oh, what a great last sentence before I ask you the quick three questions to finish this episode.
Sure. Go for it.
uh, what did you actually miss the most when you were in New Zealand from Singapore?
I miss my family. That's the one thing I miss the most. Oh, convenience as well. I love the fact that all the shops are open at night in Singapore. You can find anything, but mostly it's my family, because they are the biggest part of me. They are what I am today is because of them. So that's what I
Yes,
miss most. Yeah.
well said. And second question is something that I haven't asked like that before, but I just wanted to change it up a little bit for you. What would you think was an activity or experience you had in New Zealand that put you most outside of your comfort zone?
Wow, most outside of my comfort zone. I would say camping I don't really do camping because there's nothing to camp at in Singapore. We're a concrete jungle. Okay, no. We had to go camping for one of my school uni projects, and it was 10 days out in an island just off the shore of Tauranga, Mount Maunganui. It's Maya Island actually, Tuhua Island. So we were there for 10 days, and it was beautiful, but it was tough because, and that was like early days, my early days in New Zealand. So I was still acclimatizing, and I was
Yeah.
like, this is so tough. There's no Wi-Fi. I don't even have proper friends at that time. People were nice to me, but you just feel like very, very lonely, and the isolatedness of the island makes you feel extra lonely. So
Oh, yeah.
that put me out of my comfort zone a lot, but
Wow.
not in a bad way, in a good way. Then I realized that, but there's so many things around you that you can appreciate, yeah. So I would say that
Well,
for me.
honestly, I could not imagine like having no friends and then having to camp for 10 days on an isolated island. It's like,
And I was underprepared as well because I don't do camping, so I was shivering all night long. It was horrible.
oh my God. I always freeze when we are going camping. I went a few times with my family. I'm always freezing. So I can only imagine. And I was well prepared because I had a thick sleeping bag and everything. But yeah, if you are going camping and you're not having the proper
Proper.
stuff,
Yeah, it's bad.
poor thing.
Good, I have a survival experience, so I will take that on my list.
Yes, you're ready for anything now.
Exactly.
Awesome. All right. So, last question.
Yes, ma'am.
What advice would you give any immigrant expat or a person who wants to live overseas that, yeah, you kind of have experienced firsthand and you can now give as an advice to other people?
Advice, huh? No. Um, if they're moving to another country, I would actually encourage everyone to go and do it, because I think that it pushes you and challenges you to learn things about yourself and to actually grow in the way that you probably cannot if you stay in a place that you are very comfortable in. So my advice, I don't know how to, what do you mean advice? How do I give an advice? I'll just say, know that any challenge that you face will always, there's always a rainbow after, and there's always a rainbow after that storm.
Yeah.
As long as you know that, if you're always positive, and I'm not saying this like people just throw the word positivity around, it's not that way. It's just to know that it's really tough, some challenges really, it breaks you, but honestly speaking, life is a roller coaster. So you face that challenge, and you tell yourself you have to be your own backup, you have to be your own mother, father, like, guardian in that sense, and tell yourself that I this part of me feels very low, but you know what, we are going to get through this. And when you get through this, the tools that you gain from the experience will be priceless. So that's the advice I would give anyone.
Thank you. Thanks so much for
No,
jumping on and sharing your experience and just, being so open about your own life. So, thanks for being here.
no problem.
And I hope everyone who's watching or listening is taking something from it, taking in advice, or just, tries it out themselves, or has some sort of willingness to try something that's out of their comfort zone. So, thank you so
Yeah,
much for being here.
no
And
problem. Thank you for having me.
thank you. See you next time.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.